entire exercise, I think it's been peaceful, and I think the agitation of people is being heard, and everybody have their own view. And one of the things that really came out the most was the local government autonomy, state policing, and the one I liked the best was about the woman talking about the farmers and herders living together and making sure that food security is being ensured. So I think those areas, I think I'm quite pleased with it. And I believe that the time is right for us to give the people a workable constitution that would not only be for now, but that will transcend time. That, you know, at least we'll leave a proper document for our generation on board. So I said, how do you look at the diversity of Nigerians and look at the way everybody wants to be heard? And you see, when people write constitution, if it's something that we are supposed to write, it will be also an insult to this nation. I don't want, now you begin to quote me, it will be an insult to the people who even gave us a constitution that has taken us this far. Well, like I was saying, some people said, oh, the foundation is wrong. But you see, we are not supposed to give our view. But as a Nigerian, I would say, even if you built in a faulty foundation, are you going to say, I'm going to abandon the land? You know, at least you can pull down the building and then build from that same foundation and do something that, you know, will be right. So, but I've been in the National Assembly I've been in 3 assemblies. I can tell you with all confidence, in 7th Assembly I was a member of the Constitution Amendment, and even in the 8th Assembly. So I would say this time around, I think I feel quite confident and pleased because of the way things is being done. So, and I pray that, you know, by the grace of God, we will come up with an amendment that would make Nigerians proud. Thank you. Insecurity, you mean about now, because we've had a lot of invitation, and you can see the recent tragedy that just hit security, the armed forces, so, and then especially the service chiefs. So that is not something I can really tell you firsthand and say, oh, this is what we are going to do. We are quite concerned. We are Nigerians, and even some of our members have been attacked. So nobody is spared. So it's the people's concern. When he says the people's concern, it concerns even us as legislators. So we're quite concerned. Thank you.
There has been a series of legal discussion here and there about the new constitutional law.
What Nigerians have said.
Well, I think the right question should be what is possible. There's a difference between what is and what ought to be. What is what is governed by law, which is a possibility. What ought to be exists within the level or within the realm of morality. This is how it should be. If you are talking about what ought to be, it will be a question of, yes, let's get a new constitution. What ought to be. But can it be? At this point, my answer is we can only do what is, which is what the law permits, what the law makes possible. Nigerians who are calling for a brand new constitution are doing this based on their own assumption of what ought to happen. Well, what can we do as a National Assembly? Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution as altered has addressed this issue, and it doesn't leave for any room for debate as to whether or not we need a new constitution or not. The only thing that is possible under the law, under the constitution as it is now, is a piecemeal, gradual amendment to the various provisions of the constitution. We cannot have a totally new constitution. The law does not grant us the powers to do that. What Section 9 of the Constitution grants us power to do is amendment to the existing provisions. However, having said that, part of the amendment that can be made is an amendment to Section 9 of the Constitution itself, which has specified the mode of altering our Constitution. If it can be amended to provide for a referendum by Nigerians that will make it possible for us to go for a new Constitution, yes. But I can assure you, we have considered so many bills, and today we are done with the national public hearing, and we are going to go back into closed session at the committee level to begin to collate all these views and all these bills for a final preparation. Not one bill, not a single bill from any quarter in Nigeria has proposed an amendment to Section 9 of the Constitution, which is the only means by which the Constitution can provide for a referendum that will make it possible to have a brand new Constitution. So that's why I said there's a difference between what is and what ought to be. At the level of what ought to be, I agree. We need a new Constitution if we can. But is that possible at this point? The answer is no, because the law does not make a provision for that unless it is amended.
For example, Michael Zuckerman isn't telling you to do it now or right away. He said you should begin the process, and part of that process might be the amendment of that Section 9.
So the process is, let them bring a bill. I mean, a bill will come, and the bill will still have to go through all this process that we're going through. You know, there will have to be a bill before the Senate or the House of Reps, which will have to pass in each of the two chambers, and following the concurrence of the two chambers, it will now, be dealt with again by the Constitutional Review Committee. Nigerians, as we are doing, we also need to speak to that, at the end of which the bill passes, and it will now go to the State Houses of Assembly. We are still going to need 2/3 of the State Houses of Assembly. Actually, more than 2/3 for Section 9. We are going to need 4/5. That's 80%. 80% of voters in the House of Reps, 80% of voters in the Senate, and 80% of our State Houses of Assembly to pass an amendment to Section 9 of the Constitution before we can begin to talk about the process of having a new Constitution. So in the meantime, do we fold our arms and not amend the relevant sections? No, we have to do what the law permits at this moment. And if you ask me, having to talk about a brand new Constitution in this country today, I don't think it's going to be a tea party. It's going to be, just look at what is happening around the country, and where do you begin? But to answer your question strictly, a new Constitution is possible, but we have to amend the current Constitution to allow, for the process to be activated.
That's why I'm asking all this.
Yes.
The chairman of the NBA, Abuja branch, came here today to say the 1999 Constitution was never promulgated, and that it was not passed by any act of the National Assembly. As a member of the Constitutional Review Committee, can we rely on a document that was never promulgated? Can we continue to rely on a document that was not passed by the National Assembly Act?
Well, let me put it this way. I am a member of the legal profession too, and in fact a member of the Nigerian Bar Association. And I'm not here to be joining issues, with the NBA on this matter. As a matter of fact, we are not meant to express opinions on this. We are here strictly to collate the views of the public and go back to work on this, But again, it boils down to the same point. Can we afford to do away with this Constitution as it is? We cannot. That would be an invitation to anarchy. The only way you can suspend the Constitution is if there's a military coup, which no one is, but it's the military that can suspend the Constitution, not a National Assembly or a State House of Assembly or the court, can say a Constitution is suspended. When that happens, it means there's a regime change. It means the whole process, democratic process, has come to a halt. So that is not the essence of this review. But of course, for a long-term approach to getting a new Constitution, let us begin to see how we can amend Section 9. either by virtue of a member bill or an executive bill or a bill from the civil society, you know, or professional organization like NBA or other. NBA could have come here with an amendment proposal, could have brought an amendment bill, a draft amendment bill to the Senate or the House of Reps, you know, and we begin from there.
Okay, but, seeing the heated politics and also the view 80%, not across the whole nation of the state assembly to be able to amend section 9 of the constitution. Is it not as much as saying that cannot be done?
Well, I mean, again, it will be premature to draw a conclusion here. If it is what Nigerians want, all right, it is not impossible, but it's not something that can be part of what we are doing right now, because we don't have a mandate, you know, to jettison this constitution and write a new one. Our mandate, however, can be extended by Nigerians if they so desire, in ensuring that a bill is brought, you know, to the parliament to ensure that section 9 is amended. Anything short of that, it will be a highway to nowhere.
Thank you so much.